Hello, today I'm going to show you how to obtain secondary house price data for your geography NEA or for any other reason that you might want to obtain secondary house price data for a geographical area. We're going to be using a range of websites and tools to help us do this. So 3 websites are going to be one that can provide us with postcodes for a geographical area, the Land Registry for past house price data, and the Bank of England inflation calculator. The URLs are provided on the website here, the page here. We're also going to be doing our analysis in Excel, or data processing in Excel, using a range of functions including things like countifs, sumifs, VLOOKUP, if-error, and named ranges. So the first thing we need to do is obtain some postcodes for the geographical area we want to investigate. So we're going to use this website here, and we're going to pick a random geographical area. So you want to find something that's hopefully not too small, but big enough to have a range. So let's go for Paddock Wood here. It's on a mainline railway station. So we can see quite clearly the outlines of the area, geographical area. So we're going to draw a couple of lines and we'll click here to make sure that we encompass everything that we think is within the bounds of Paddock Wood. And what this will do is return us house price sale data for everything in the area. So we go search for postcodes. This will now generate a list, and we can see that's done that here. We're going to go for new line, so it puts them all on a new line. We're going to go Control A, Control C, and we're now going to go to our worksheet that I've set up earlier. So I've put in a list of postcodes. I'm going to put in this list of postcodes, I'm going to paste them in there, and we can sort by alphabet. So we can see TN12 is a postcode in Kent. It's actually a much larger area than the area we've selected. So we're going to download data from the Land Registry for TN12, but there's going to be a lot of information on houses that we aren't interested in. And I'll show you with Excel how to filter those out. So we're going to go to the Land Registry now. And we're going to type in TN12, and we want to get all data, so I'm going to ask it to show results. It's going to take a little while to process, and this will provide us results for sales between 1995 and present day, which at the moment is 2024. Okay. So you can see we've got 15,000 transactions for 8,500 properties. We could look at them individually, but that would be very slow. The best thing to do is to go download data, and we want to get all results with CSV headers. So we click there. That should then download a CSV file format. Okay. We're going to go to our downloads folder, and we're going to open that up. Now, CSV is a useful file format, but it's not good for processing data in. So we're going to go Control A, press it twice to select everything on that entire workbook, and we're going to press Control C. That will now copy everything. We're going to go to our spreadsheet, and we're going to go Control V to paste it all. We're going to paste it into the unfiltered tab, but we're also going to paste the same information into the filtered tab. The unfiltered will never touch again. That is just for data integrity, but we're going to be working in the filtered tab. Now we're going to expand some of the columns to get them the right width so we can see everything that we need. Okay, so first things, we're going to do a little bit of data formatting. So I'm just going to select these 3 columns because they're the ones we're going to be using, and I'm going to highlight those in yellow. I'm going to insert a column after deed date, and I'm going to change that to green because this is where I'm going to have formulas. I'm going to do the same for price paid, change it to green, but I'm going to leave property type alone. So here I'm going to put adjusted price, and next to deed date I'm going to put year. So I'm also going to make that top row bold just so it stands out a bit more. So the first thing we're going to need to do is extract the year from this string here. Now, the easiest way to do this is with the formula year, and then we go to cell D2, hit return, that will complete the formula. Now you can see it's immediately put it as the 15th of July 1905. That's because it is using the year 2023 as 2023 days after the 1st of January 1900, which is the starting date for all dates in Excel. So we'll change it from the date format to the general format, and you can see we've extracted the correct year. So I'm just going to double click the bottom corner of that square, and that will apply that formula to all the data we have, all 15,000 results. Nice, easily done. We're also going to press Control, Shift and down, and we're going to select all our data, and we're going to give it a named range. We're going to call it year. Now we have something to refer to. We're also going to do the same for property type. We're going to go Control, Shift down, and we're going to call that type. And we'll leave the adjusted price paid for the time being. So the next thing we need to do is we need to work out what the adjusted price paid is. Now, the value of money changes over time. So we're going to use the Bank of England inflation calculator, and we can see if we go back to 1995, which is the start date for land registry sales, we can see that £1 in 1995 money was worth £2 today. As we approach present day, the difference in the value changes. So £1 in 2020 was worth £1.23. If we get to September 24, which is when I obtained my data, we can see £1 in September 2024 money is worth £1 in today's money. So there isn't a quick way to do this, so we have to do this for each year we want, and we can paste those results into Excel. So we can look here, we can go to B of E, and we can see I've already done this. So in 1980, we can see £1 was worth £4.17 in today's money, and by 2024, £1 in September 24 is worth £1 in September 24, unsurprisingly. So I'm going to make this a named range. So from cell A2 to B2, all the way down to A46 and B46. I'm just going to call this BOE. This will make writing formulas a lot easier to make sense of. So we want to now work out what the inflation multiplier was for each year. So we're going to use the formula VLOOKUP, and the lookup value is the year, and the table array is BOE, the named range we've just made. Now the second column is the column we want. So the column index is the second column, that's the value of the pound in that year. And we want it to be an exact match, which means we select the false option, and we can complete that formula. And we can see that the adjusted price was worth, in 2023, £1 was worth £1.02. So we can now edit that formula a little bit. After the VLOOKUP, we can go times by the price paid. That then gives us the price paid for that year. And we can apply the same formula to everything. Now, I'll change this, in formats to currency, so it makes it a little bit easier to see, and I'll get rid of the pence because we don't need that. Now, we can see that we've got a lot more data. We can see here, TN120AB. If we go to our postcodes, that's not one that we're interested in. So we're going to insert a new column. We're going to go insert here next to postcodes, and we're going to make it green because it's going to be a formula, and we're going to call this postcodes in area. And we're going to use the countifs function here. So countifs, and what this will enable us to do is to look up this postcode against our list of postcodes and give us a value of 1 if it's present and 0 if it's not. So the criteria range here is, actually it's not that, it is our named range post, we haven't named the range postcodes yet. So we'll go back to postcodes. We will make this named range. We'll call that postcodes. Right. We can now go back to here, the filter data equals count ifs. Criteria range, postcodes are named range, and the criteria we're comparing against is TN120AB. So we already knew TN120 0AB is not in our area. We can apply this postcode all the way down here. And you can see all the top results are zeros. Could something have gone wrong? We need to do a sense check. So we could scroll down, that will take a long time. So the thing to do is select the first row, and we go data, and we can go filter. And if we click on the tab here, we see, we've got zeros and we've got ones. If we unfilter for the zeros, we can see we've got data that has ones, TN12 6AB, that matches the first postcode here. Now, that's left us with a lot of data we don't need. So we're going to unselect the ones in postcodes, select zeros, and that will leave us with all the data that we don't want. And what we're actually going to do is select row 2, press Control Shift and then down. That's going to select all that data, and I'm actually just going to delete it. That looks like we've got no data left, but actually we can just then filter for ones, and that gives us the sales in the area that we're interested in. So now we're ready to start summarizing, processing this data. Now, this isn't anything special. I've just formatted it by property type, which is DFOST, so detached, flat, other, semi, or terraced. Formula here is E equals sum to tell us the total number of houses sold in that year. Here will be the total property sales in that year, and this will eventually be the average property price in that year. So we're going to use countifs as our formula, and we're going to use criteria range. So the first criteria range is going to be type, which is the type of property we've looked at. We're then going to select D, and we need to lock it to that row, so we put a $sign before the 3. We then can go to the year, and because the formula is in the way here, we can select cell A5 and then move it up back to cell A4. Now here we want to lock it to the column, not the row. And we can complete the formula. And we can see that in 1995 now, there were 14 detached houses that were sold, and we can drag this along, seeing a total of 57 properties sold in that year. And we can populate the entire table by dragging it down. So we can see in total there were 2,383 properties sold, and we've suddenly got a lot of information we've pulled out very, very quickly. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the formula SUMIF. So we're going to essentially repeat the same thing, but we're now we're filtering against year and property type for the total value. So equals SUMIFs. We are going to go adjusted price. I haven't named that range. So go back to filter data, select here. I haven't made this named range, so I'm going to go adjusted price. Now I can go back and write this formula, equals SUMIFs. So the sum range, adjusted price. The criteria range is type, because we're looking up against property type. The criteria I'm looking for is D. I'm going to lock that again to that row. And we need to filter by year. So the criteria range is year. And I want cell, need to add a comma. I think it's then cell I4. Yeah, and again, I'm going to lock it to that column. So again, do that, and I can see, right, total sales of detached houses in 1995 was equal to 2.6 million. I can now drag that along, and I can drag it down. You see, I've got some quite large numbers here. So you can see for Paddock Wood then, the total value of, cumulative value of all sales of property from 1995 to 2024 was £872 million, quite a huge figure. But this gives us some useful information. We can look at average price changes over time. So now we just need to go equals the detached price, cumulative sales, over the number of sales. That will give us an average house price of $192,000 for a detached property in 1995. Apply that to the remaining columns and drag down. Now, you can instantly see we've got something that looks a bit horrible, a div /0 error. This is because it's trying to divide £0 by 0 properties. We can tidy this up by using the formula if error. This doesn't really do anything other than make it look less confusing. So we're saying perform this operation, J4 over B4. If there's an error, I'm just going to tell it to quote back 3 hyphens as a value, and you can see here it will just tidy it up. It makes it a little bit easier to read and see where we do have data and we don't have data. So now then, you're at a point where we have the total number of properties sold each year, we have the total value of those sales, and we have the average property price for each year. So now you'd be free to pull up some graphs showing how prices have changed over time, compare them against current sale price data for Zoopla, and you might be able to look at an investigation looking at whether prices have changed over time. You could perform some statistical analyses on this, maybe using chi-square or Spearman's rank if you wanted to compare prices from different areas. Okay, I hope that's helped, and well, all I have left to say is good luck with your NEAs. Thank you.